What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel where you subscribe to get daily updates every single day on Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. And at the end of the video, we'll be taking a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average and see what's going on with that. Crazy markets, crazy times. Should be pretty interesting. Definitely stick around for the whole thing. I do believe there's a massive move coming. We'll talk about which way it might go. Areas to watch. Definitely stick around. Don't forget there's a free Discord group in the description below the video. Definitely check it out, and let's get on with it. All right, guys, as always, this is not financial advice, trading advice, nor is it investment advice. Always do your own due diligence. Disclaimer scrolling on the bottom. Make sure you read it. We're going to take a look at the headlines, get a feel for the sentiment. Stocks, safe havens, and hodlers, 5 things to eye in Bitcoin. Bitcoin could be about to surge to 100,000 after stock to flow ratio. I'm sure you guys know the Plan B stock to flow ratio chart. JP Morgan, Bitcoin's biggest enemy, suddenly appears to be all in on crypto. If you've watched my videos about JP Morgan in the past, about 2 weeks ago, I made a couple of them. Definitely check them out. It shows you what happens when they talk good about Bitcoin. It usually dumps. When they talk bad about Bitcoin, it usually pumps. Bitcoin rising, Satoshi discoveries, and Google enters the race. Bitcoin is sitting underneath a key technical level. Bitcoin fees fall 60% while transaction count declines. Is Bitcoin finally ready for a breakout above 10K? Bitcoin's $100,000 probability, speculation, or economic theory. So pretty bullish news. We are at 50 on the fear and greed index. We have dropped one from yesterday, still in the neutral zone. We've been talking about this trend line here, or these two trend lines, 93.40 and 85.57. I'd said it would be bullish to open above, well, last month to close above 93.40, which we did. That is a bullish sign, although I'm still feeling bearish here, but that's my opinion, not yours. Always remember, this is my opinion, not yours. So anyways, I'm still bearish. I'm short-term bullish. Obviously, we've closed above this, but we opened up last month above that too, and fell all the way back down, which is definitely a possibility, and came back up. If we look at the bottom trend line, 85.50 here, that lines up with the 8 EMA. Actually, the 8 EMA is around 86. It's a good possibility we come down to at least there to touch. Guys, when we go into the smaller time frames and you look at this, this is due for a correction, in my opinion. If not, we're just going to have a hard fall like we did over here. So the longer this keeps going up without correcting, the harder the correction is going to be, in my opinion. We still have the 55 EMA down here on the monthly, which I believe is still a great possibility. We come down and touch around 5,400. Had that target for a super long time. Let's look at my wife's webpage, anchorimage.com. Check it out. There's a link down below in the description. Great way to support the channel, guys. You can put anything you want on any of this stuff. There's also long sleeve tees like the one I'm wearing here, hoodies and other stuff that's not listed. Just hit her up in the contact if you're interested. Weekly. All right, so what's our weekly number now for this week? It is 10.3 to break this top trend line here off of these wicks. I know a lot of people say we've already broken it because they draw it off the bodies. I don't believe in that. The wicks are what I use. So 10.3 this week, if we're able to break above that, that's when I get really bullish, guys. That is when I turn true bull. As of right now, I am not totally bullish at all. This is actually a no trade zone until this breaks. But we still have the tweezer tops here on the weekly. We never broke above these wicks here, so that's still looking pretty bearish to me. Although, as we can see, the EMAs have all turned up over the 55 EMA. Pretty bullish looking, but as you can see last time we did it here, each time we get above this 55, we're getting lower and lower. So this is getting weaker and weaker, in my opinion. If we look at the RSI, we did get support on the top of this falling channel that we broke out of and are coming up now. Question is, do we come back down, retest this one more time? I think that's the most probable situation, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. One more thing I wanted to point out, as this is going up, our volume is declining. I do believe there's going to be a big breakout. We'll talk about the areas to watch here in a minute. Let's go into I'm trying to zip through this, make it as quick as possible for you guys. I am running late as usual. All right, so first we're going to take a look at the RSI on the daily. We had this rising, broadening wedge, which we fell out of, bearish. Came back up. We've actually tested the bottom for support or resistance twice and got rejected. What I'm looking at here is, and I'm going to show you what I think, what I'm going to be looking for, right? So if we come up to the top of this, it's going to be around 9,800 would be the top of this white symmetrical triangle. I'm going to get the EMAs off here so it clears it up a little bit. And then we'll look at moving these trend lines too here in a minute after we get through this 4 hour after this. All right, so if we come up today on the daily, it's around 98, 98.12, where I would expect rejection. If we break above that, it's going to get looking pretty bullish here, guys. And a break above that, I have the measured move set in here, be around, it's actually down a little bit, around the 11,800, somewhere in that range, which would also be retesting the top of this rising channel. We also have the bottom of this rising broadening wedge to retest. We almost touched it to retest it here, did not quite make it. As of right now, it's sitting around 10,870, somewhere in that range. Is this still significant? I believe so. If we make it up this way, I would expect at least some resistance. A breakdown from this, if it is a symmetrical triangle, as of right now, would get us around $6,800 if we broke down straight today. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen. So around the 68, 69 would be the measured move breaking down from here. And again, 11.8 if we break up from here, which everybody's extremely bullish right now. That's why it makes me less likely to believe that it's going to come down or go up. Anyways, we also have our other targets here. This one being a breakdown of the rising channel. Depending on when we break that, this actually moves up a little bit now to about 60, right around the 6,600 range. We still have our golden pocket zone between the 6,050 and 6,220 area, and I still believe it's a good possibility we come down and test this area. I still have my $5,400 target, which I showed you in the monthly is the 55 EMA. Then we have the 0.786 at 50, around 51.60. And I've showed you guys this before. There is a 4 hour gap down around 3,500 in the CME. I've done a video on it if you want to check it out, but we'll take the Fibonacci extension and go from the swing high down to the swing low and up to the next swing high. And that gets us the 1-to-1 extension right there. So it's still a possibility in my mind, guys, that we could be headed there. Let's look at the RSI now. So, okay, looking at the RSI, like I said, we have got rejection here. Does look like we're most likely going to come down and retest the bottom of this channel, guys. Let's look at the 4 hour. Same thing. If we look at the 4 hour, I have this symmetrical triangle drawn in. And if it was to come up in this 4 hour, like I said, watch the 9,800 range. If we break that with some conviction, definitely possible we go up to that 11.8 area. But remember, the 10.3 on the weekly is breaking that trend, the main long-term resistance line. So 10.3 is when I get extremely bullish if we're able to make it up that way, that far. Now, we've talked about all this. The white targets here are just the Fibonacci retracements. This is 0.236, 0.382, 0.5, golden pocket, and then we have our 0.786. Look at the RSI in the 4 hour. Does look like, oh yeah, let me show you one more thing here. Like I said, a lot of things are looking bullish. Even the EMAs here have crossed, but as you can see, we crossed over here. We're getting lower and lower. It's looking weaker and weaker, and this actually looks like could possibly be a reversal diamond forming here. But again, if we can break the 9,800, it's pretty freaking bullish. But let's take a look a little closer here. So if we look at we're making lower highs in the price action. And if we go to them same peaks, we're making higher highs in the RSI. That's hidden bearish divergence. Still looking at the bearish divergence here. We also had hidden bullish divergence from the higher lows here and the lower lows here. RSI resetting possibly. You know, this could end up forming a head and shoulders. That's why we do daily updates. We keep an eye on this stuff. But also if we zoom in here, this could be forming a head and shoulders. Right shoulder, head, and forming the left shoulder. Now, let's take a look at where that, put a trend line across there and take a look at what the measured move would be if we broke that. We would go from the peak of the head down to the neckline. And then depending on where we broke, if we break over here somewhere, that gets us down to around the 8,900 range, around the 9,000 range, which would also line up at the 200 EMA. Definitely a good possibility that we could be targeting this area fairly soon, around the $89,000 to $9,000 range. So keep an eye on that. That's what I'm looking for. Like I said, could get up and test the top of this triangle. If that breaks, it's bullish. I don't see it happening. Most likely, this would happen over in here, a retest of the bottom of this. Now, usually how a symmetrical triangle works, if it's a symmetrical triangle, after this, we're going to look at possibility of it being a descending triangle. But normally how a triangle is confirmed, an actual confirmed triangle, we would have A, B, C, D, one more touch to the bottom, and the E doesn't always come all the way down to the bottom, so it could stop at this bottom of this rising channel, being around the 9250, and go up from there, if that's in fact what this is. Like I said, I'm still leaning bearish here. I don't believe this is going to break. I could be wrong. Let's look at this is the other way I was looking at it. If you can see, last time we had a rise like this, look at what happened. I mean, a rise with no correction for a long time here, and then boom. Same thing here, big rise. We've still been correcting from this. We have not broken this high here at the 10.5. Nothing has changed in that. We've not broken that 10.5, and people are extremely bullish like we've already broken it. I'm not there yet. Unless we break this, and like I said, 10.5 is not even a concern for me anymore. It's 10.3, around 10.350, right in that range is why I would get bullish. But if we look here, look at these two peaks. You're getting lower highs in the price action, higher highs in the RSI on the daily. That's bearish. It's hidden bearish divergence, and we are coming down from here. And if we look at the RSI, we have came up and retested this rising channel and got rejected. Most likely, we have much further to go down, in my opinion. Let's take a measured move of this rising channel as it's drawn here. This one comes down a little bit to these wicks. And if we were to break sometime this week, that is around the 65 to 6,600. So I'm still looking for this area at least, guys. And that would make sense. It would come with the old support and resistance all the way across. That's always been a area of interest. So as long as we don't break out of this, we're continuing down, in my opinion. But we could also look at this as a descending triangle. And if we took a measured move of it as a descending triangle, go from the widest point of the triangle, and say we broke down over in this area somewhere, that would be around the 7,200 range, which also lines up with old support and resistance. I don't know. I just think people are getting way overly bullish when, you know, look at the rejections we had here. We didn't even make it back up that far this time. So be careful, guys, if you are bullish. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I think some serious downward action is in the near future. Litecoin. So Litecoin, if we look at the RSI, that's pretty much all I have to look at here to show that it's bearish. Looks like it topped out here, and we're most likely coming down to retest this area. We could get one more little push up. It does look like we've created some hidden bullish divergence. Maybe get one more push up here, and if we did a measured move, we would probably, I would look at this as a rising wedge, or a falling wedge, I'm sorry. That would probably just get up to retest this $48 range again, in my opinion. One more thing I want to look at Bitcoin, I forgot to show you guys. Let me get this out of the way. Another way to look at this here, guys, is that it formed just like this one here, and this trend line actually could be over this range. We tried to get back inside it, failed. Does look like we're getting resistance on the bottom now. The measured move would be the same there, right around $6,500. So keep that in mind. This could be exact same thing as we had over here, and now, you know, obviously we continue down. Still looking like in the daily here, we may be forming a inverse head and shoulder, or a head and shoulders with this RSI coming down. Yeah, I get so much flack for being bearish, guys, but I have no reason to be bullish yet. I told you where I would get bullish. But anyway, Litecoin, like I said, looks pretty bearish. Looking at the RSI of Ethereum, looks as if Ethereum topped out. Also, looking at the RSI, that was a target we had here forever. You can check the videos way back. I didn't think we were going to make it up there, but that is the 0.786 retracement of this swing high to this swing low that we had talked about. And we hit it right on the dot and got rejected. Do we come up and make one more attempt? Possibly, just like in Litecoin, but I don't think that's going to break. Let's look at the pre-market. Dow down 35 points. It'll probably be open by the time this video gets out. We'll see what happens, but that would most likely drag Bitcoin down with it if it goes down hard, which is pretty likely. And I'll show you why. Looking at the daily, we got major rejection at the 200 EMA here. We're still getting support on the 8 EMA at 25,000 points. If that's broken, guys, 55 EMA is our next support at about 24.3. And then we're back down to this long-term support resistance line. If that breaks, you guys, if you don't know my lower targets, I have some extremely lower targets for the Dow. I know everybody is bullish on the Dow. They're just going to keep printing money and it's going to keep going up and all is good and you can make a bunch of money. I doubt it. I'm waiting for the biggest money grab in history to come out of this. That's my opinion, not yours. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click CryptoSavy logo above my head to get you subscribed to the channel. Tick the notification bell to get you notified when I post new videos. Smash those likes. And check out Prime XBT. I'll leave a tutorial right here. And yeah, I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. There is affiliate links down below. All of them help the channel. There is exchange links down there that I personally use. And all of them give you bonuses. Prime XBT is by far my favorite. You can trade Forex, gold, future, all kinds of stuff on it. Yeah, it's by far the best exchange in my opinion. If you use a Savy 50 promo code, you get 50% on top of your deposit up to 1 Bitcoin. Savy 25 gets you 25% off all your trading fees. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day. I'm out.